Welcome to week 9 of Cloud for Developers. Week 9 after the midterm and spring break starts to look like a more traditional week again. So for this week the focus is going to be on Lambda, and Lambda is a service that AWS provides that allows you to run your functions, so your code-based functions, in the cloud. So under reading there's a couple of things to get started with Lambda and the Lambda developer guide. I think these are best consumed after maybe watching the videos that were created. So under watch, there's 2 videos. There's a Lambda intro, which introduces you to what is a Lambda function, how does it work, how do I test it, how do I pass incoming data into a Lambda function, so those types of concepts. And then there's a second video where we take our code where we were writing JavaScript code, our Node.js JavaScript code, and moving that code base, that Node.js code base, where we are connecting to DynamoDB to create, read, update, and delete records. We moved that code over to Lambda, and how does Lambda interact with DynamoDB at that point? So those are the 2 videos, and those are kind of the coding section that we're going to look at for this week. And then lastly, if I head over to the do section, there's a week 9 check-in, and then there's also a lab 8. Lab 8 is basically an intro lab for Lambda. And what I would suggest is the way this is going to work is this lab has you write some Lambda code to work with S3. And the idea is, if I look in the description, a user is going to upload this logo, which is an image file. They're going to upload that logo to S3. So you'll go out into an S3 bucket. It's going to trigger a Lambda function. And that Lambda function, all of the code resides in this create_thumbnail.zip. Create_thumbnail.zip is actually a Python-based code base that you're going to use for Lambda. So you're not writing any code. You do not have to customize any code. You're using create_thumbnail, which is already provided for you. It's Python code, and the idea is that it's going to take this brewer's logo and it's going to create a thumbnail image out of that image. So it's basically shrinking down or creating a new file size for that logo. So the idea is that you'll have 2 buckets in S3. One is kind of like an input bucket for your logo, and then another which is going to be your output from this resulting create thumbnail function definition that you're going to write in Lambda. Okay, so that's the idea of Lab 8. Okay, additional notes regarding this class. The midterm exam is graded, so you should be able to go into My Grades and click on your grade and see how you did on the exam. So that is out on Blackboard. Project 2. So Project 2, I've had a few messages through Slack, and just to kind of address those concerns, Project 2 is a project that's going to have you write some Lambda code to interact with DynamoDB, so very similar to what the video is covering. And then ultimately we're going to expose that Lambda code through API Gateway. So this week we're covering Lambda and the Lambda code. Next week we'll get into API Gateway. And my intention is to give you 1 week following that to complete the project. So if I'm looking at a calendar, so I'm looking at a calendar right now, and we are on the 25th. So next week through the 8th would be focused on API Gateway. Then the 8th through the 15th would be more time to work. And the 15th is really kind of my target date for the project deadline. And I just wanted to kind of put that out there for everyone so that I kind of alleviate some of your concerns about when that due date is going to hit, so it's not kind of an immediate thing. And the reason for that due date being so far off in the course syllabus was the course is now front-loaded with that section on the Windows command prompt and the Linux terminal. Because those 2 weeks are in there, that's really what's happening to us. So April 15th So I actually have everything due on the Wednesday night. So it'd be April 14th is kind of my target date for the due date for Project 2. So just kind of a heads up in terms of what the timing of that would look like. Okay, otherwise, I will see you next week.